Welcome to another short by Zakinomics. Let's talk about the Canada-US-Mexico agreement in this short video.
Hi, thanks for tuning in. Let's talk about the Cusma, the Canada-United States-Mexico agreement, and what it means for Ontario. Hi, back in 2018, Canada, Mexico, and the United States signed a deal to renegotiate NAFTA. By mid-2020, all three countries had approved the agreement, which is the new agreement, and on July 1st, 2020, Cusma officially came into force. If you recall, that was in the middle of the pandemic, and also there are border restrictions placed across Canada, United States, and Mexico. This deal was shaped during the first 2 years of President Trump's administration. It changed how cars are made to qualify as locally produced, added protection for indigenous rights, intellectual property, and removed the rule that let companies sue governments under the investor-state dispute mechanism. It also included a safeguard if, say, steel or aluminum imports surged beyond historic levels, tariffs could be reimposed. And that's exactly what happened on August 6th, 2020. The US reinstated a 10% tariff on Canadian aluminum after an 87% spike in exports. So tariffs are not really new. They've always been there in certain sectors. So how does this impact Ontario? Well, you see, Ontario exports nearly $397 billion to other countries, according to Statistics Canada, and over half of that, about $200 billion, goes to the United States. So service exports to the U.S. add another $67 billion. On the flip side, Ontario imports $236 billion in goods and $55 billion in services from the U.S. But tariffs, especially on steel, aluminum, autos, have hit Ontario hard. Manufacturing-heavy regions like Windsor, Guelph, Brantford, Kitchener, Waterloo, and London are projected to see unemployment increase. But eventually, by 2026, they're estimated to drop by 1.6%. Here's how the impact spreads. First, there's the direct price and demand channel. When US imposes tariffs, well, tariffs reduce demand for Ontario exports. While Canadian retaliation, tariffs raises import prices. Second, the supply and chain channel. Higher input costs for steel, aluminum, and auto parts raises production costs for Ontarian manufacturers. And third, macro feedback. So lower exports mean lower revenues, less investments, and obviously job losses, not just in manufacturing, but different sectors in Ontario. Biggest losers? Well, it'll be the motor vehicle parts, projected to fall over by 22% by 2026, primary metals down more than 18%, and service, especially trade, transportation, professional sectors, and other areas that may see the ripple effect. According to Scotiabank Economic Outlook article, Ontario and Quebec are the most exposed provinces due to their reliance on manufacturing, specifically steel, lumber, aluminum, etc. Ontario has already lost 50,000 jobs since January, a sign of labor market weakness that could cause consumers to spend less. TD's provincial forecast adds that Ontario's home building industry currently remains in recession. Condo and housing starts are sluggish, though falling rates may impact and provide some relief with another rate cut possibly by the end of the year. Unemployment still sits around 7.8 and is expected to gradually decline by 1 percentage point by 2026 to 2027. Now let's talk about the future of Cusma. Under Article 34.7, all three countries must agree to extend the agreement for another 16 years. If they don't, annual reviews will be triggered until consensus reached. U.S. officials and trade representatives have flagged concerns about loopholes exploited by China to access North American markets. Well, Canada and Mexico have signaled an alignment on this issue, but tensions still remain. The Trump administration has criticized Canada's supply management system, which protects domestic dairy producers through high tariff quotas. So what's next? Ontario's path forward depends on how this review unfolds. Policymakers may need to support affected workers, diversify export markets, and invest in infrastructure to cushion the blow, especially if tariffs persist. Cusma reshaped North American trade, but for Ontario, the story is still unfolding. Thanks for watching and stay informed. So what's next?